Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. Right, today we have rank 4 Black Widow gameplay showcase courtesy to JoeyDyson. Before we get into the actual gameplay, and we do have quite a lot of it, so this video might be a bit lengthy, we need to talk about the two leading kind of trains of thought about which champions do deserve the highest ranks the most. And one of the most popular arguments is that mid-damage high utility champions benefit the most from higher ranks, because if your damage is somewhere in the middle of the pack, then you benefit from every single extra attack point in order to be able to finish off the fights quicker that you would normally spend in larger amounts of time. That is a very popular opinion and leans towards the champions like Black Widow Voyant, leads towards the champions like Warlock, for instance, and a whole bunch of others. Now, another leading train of thought is that the burst damage champions are the ones that benefit the most, like Corvus, like iHulk, or other champions who kind of have this massive burst of damage, and if they can either finish nuking down the champion, or in case of Corvus, finish the fight in 20 charges, those are the champions that benefit the most. I personally believe that truth is probably somewhere in the middle of the both of those theories and needs to be looked in individual basis, but let me know what you guys think. That being said, let's get this started and let's see how Black Widow Clairvoyant does against Scarlet Witch, against Wolverine, and also Black Bolt. And then we're going to have some Act 7, some incursions, some side quests, some AW gameplay. This might be a bit lengthy one, so we don't have any more time to waste. So we do see that Liquid Courage Double Edge is active. Obviously, finish the combo to go poison immune, get rid of that poison debuff. That's one of the coolest things that I do like about Black Widow Clairvoyant, that she can completely get rid of those debuffs. Even though in some fights it is quite annoying that you do need, for instance, make a full circle to get back to your regen phase or something like that. But obviously it's significantly better than not having those abilities at all. As we can see here, he hits a level 2, but we do have the synergy for Black Widow Clairvoyant that gives her a chance to stun the opponent as well. And Black Widow Clairvoyant obviously is not necessarily the highest damage output champion, or should I say, especially if you're running Liquid Courage Double Edge, it's not that her damage output is that low, it's that she amasses her hit count extremely quickly because she can spam that level 2 that has a ton of hits on it. But there are circumstances when, if you measure how you play and you largely rely on your level, threes and heavy attacks in immunity matchups, obviously she can be at the top of damage per hit count. Maybe not necessarily damage per second, or the finished fight, quickest fight finisher, but she certainly is capable of soloing abyss fights quite frequently by utilizing the heavy spam into level 3, because that level 3 with plenty of charges does a ton of damage. And here we can see 16 poisons. Obviously those poisons don't deal much damage, but that's one of the charms of Black Widow Clairvoyant, is the fact that she has access to those damage over time effects at all, and that immediately makes her perfect counter for a ton of nodes. I personally recall using Black Widow Clairvoyant a ton in Act 7, largely often because of those abilities, because of the fact that she can bleed, poison, and incinerate opponents and be immune to that at the same time. So you can see this fight still wasn't the quickest, but obviously every fight against Scarlet Witch is kind of like an RNG fiesta, in between your power getting drained, in between your weaknesses getting applied on you. This, however, should be quite interesting. I didn't notice whether he is running Mystic Dispersion or not, but let's see how well she deals with Wolverine, because obviously you can basically nullify all or most of those regions immediately, and then you have that wonderful buff immunity on your level 2 as well. On top of that, if you stay in Poison Curse, which seems to be the favorite thing to do here, then you can obviously immediately just completely get rid of all healing potential with just like 4 poisons active or something. So as soon as you drop that heavy attack, then Wolverine's healing ability is extremely limited. I kind of do wish, though, that we would have seen how much damage is here in the Incinerate Curse. But that being said, obviously he is still full control of the fight, and that is one of the characteristics of Black Widow Clairvoyant. Just maintaining absolute full control of the fights whenever she does take part in. you can see here, he's just spamming the level 2s. And is that a power boost that he's also sporting there? It does look like he has a power... Oh, no. Or that might just be the natural power gain. Yeah, no, never mind. That's just the natural power gain from the level 2 in the Poison Curse. It kind of looked for a second that he was pretty much sporting a Mystic power boost, which he's not. But now he's in Incinerate phase. And that Incinerate, obviously, phase does more damage. And you can still utilize the Spare Mastery in order to reduce opponents' regeneration ability, but in this case it's unnecessary because she just melted away that Wolverine. And that was, again, 97 hits, 1.5 minutes. Obviously there are champions that can deal with Wolverine quicker with regen reversal, but as far as it goes to directly combating all the regeneration abilities that Wolverine has, and Black Widow does awesome, because again, she had so many different ways how to get rid of that regen. You can nullify the regen, you can apply poisons or other debuffs, and then let either poisons, regeneration reduction work, or despair mastery work. And then on top of that, you also have that level 2 that just prohibits opponents from proccing that regen in the first place. Now this could be quite a good fight if he goes for the level 3s here, I think. So he does want to go for another few heavy attacks, get those 20 charges, and let's see how much damage rank 4 Black Widow Clairvoyant does. That was a solid level 3 considering how quickly you can get to it. So there was like 67 hits, I believe, there. And those heavies crit for decent 22k as well. So obviously, again, there are champions that do more damage, but in this case, that was an awesome level 2 as well. That was a very good level 2 there. That dealt definitely plenty of damage, and he actually managed to get in 2 level 2s while the Death Touch is active from level 3, and that in itself increases the burst damage that you can get from the level 2. So now we have one fight in Incursion Zone 8, Sector 8, Zone 12. So I do not know all the hacks that are active, but typically in Incursions you can see some mental things if your hacks align right. So he immediately gets rid of the poison debuff. He gets into his Incinerate Hellfire phase. And now let's see how the fight is going to look like. He's going back to healing phase because he's only at 20%. So flat out, one level 2 gets him back up to 56% after the recoil. And it does seem to have buff cornucopia. Obviously, buff cornucopia is not necessarily the perfect hack for Clairvoyant because she doesn't have any buffs in her base kit. But he does seem to get quite lucky here with that regeneration proccing, going for another level 2. And that's it. From 20% back to full health. And that is, I must say, one of the coolest things about Black Widow Clairvoyant. That amazing, amazing sustainability. Especially if you do have some sort of attack modifiers that can let you improve the damage on your level 2, then you can have enormous heal available to you, which is one of the reasons why she is one of the best champions for Flare. I do personally still prefer Rogue, just because it's the level 1 that lets you heal there, but Black Widow Clairvoyant is definitely also, one of the best options in the game when you are encountering Flare node, because you get all the benefit with basically no downside. And here we are. That fight is almost done against 100k Silver Surfer there. And yeah, went up from 20% to 100%. So this is going to be the Cosmic Fracture, Tactical Recycling, Ionized Armor, Divine Barrier node. Now, the thing that I absolutely love about Black Widow Clairvoyant, on top of everything else that I have talked, is the fact that her buff immunity bypasses all of the nullify safeguards that we have in game. We have more and more champions added to this game that are immune to nullify, fate seal, or stagger. We have these nodes with divine barrier or mystic something and what have you, mystic another. But the buff immunity is just that. It's buff immunity. It's not nullification technically. And it always bypasses all of that. And whenever you do see these abilities that effectively function as the mainstream abilities, but have different, wording to it or different kind of like way of getting there, it's always worth paying attention. It's almost always worth paying attention. And I do personally still strongly believe that that is one of the kind of like strong points of Black Widow Clairvoyant. It's not just that she has Nullify, tons of immunities, access to tons of debuffs, power control, burst damage, healing, but also that buff immunity specifically, because it's virtually designed to get around all of the pesky restrictions, you know, pesky Nullify immunities and things like that. Absolutely love that. Whenever you see that in the champion, it's just a joy to watch. And then Ghost, again, for an Act 7 opponent, absolutely melted there. These are fairly stacked opponents, you know. This is Act 7.4. Their base health is what? I actually didn't notice what is the base health. So let's take a look at She-Hulk. But, you know, they do have massive health pools. 430k in She-Hulk, so they're basically almost on the side, on the par with Realm of Legends opponents. So these guys are, you know, hefty, chunky. And the fight definitely did not feel kind of stretched out or long. And that's the thing with Black Widow Clairvoyant. One would almost argue that she's borderline Liquid Courage Double Edge reliant champion, unless there are external attack modifiers involved, which we do see more and more often, which is the reason why several of the champions are viable in today's meta. Often is just because about half of the content we do have very potent attack modifiers, or in case of Alliance War, for instance, we do our best to increase that attack of the champions by boosting heavily, by doing the synergies, by, you know, altering our synergy setups just to kind of get the best out of the champions. Which is a strong argument why I think Captain America Sam Wilson is going to be a great champion. His damage is on the lower side, but with all of the attack modifiers flying around, I'm 100% convinced that, you know, it pretty much offsets the thing as well. And that is pretty much the case with Black Widow Clairvoyant. I do think that you do really want to have access to Liquid Courage Double Edge in, you know, virtually every piece of content without an attack modifier using this champion. But luckily, we're getting more and more content where attack modifier is, you know, a very common occurrence. Another cool thing that I love about Black Widow Clairvoyant is the fact that she kind of shines in many matchups you wouldn't expect a Mystic champion to shine, just because of how much potent she can be if you're going up against a champion with those 1 of 3 immunities. So she has other strong matchups than Mystic champions typically would, which yet again is one of those things that, you know, strongly encourages you to pay attention to the champion. And here we are. Now we're going to go up against the Act 7 Mystic Curse. And let's see what is going to be happening there. So this is unlimited power Mystic Curse Terrax. Terrax is always a bit of a frustrating opponent. But as we remember, when we had to deal with that mega stacked Terrax from Grandmaster's Gauntlet, Black Widow Clairvoyant was actually one of the top options for that fight. So here he's just waiting out that rock field, which he successfully did. And now at this point, he's just going to build up to his level 3, I believe. I believe that's going to be... Oh, no. He's building up to level 2 power drain, nullify all of the Furies that he had, and not let Terrax reach those 3 bars of power because of the power steal. Actually, very clever use of the power drain on level 2, because then you don't worry about reaching 3 bars of power, because no matter how much power they have, your final hit will drain some of it. So here he baits out the level 3. Wonderful. Now he's just gonna wait out till the rock field expires. And again, he's gonna throw that level 2. Terrax is gonna reach 3 bars of power, and it's not going to matter. It's just not going to matter because he's still going to power drain the guy. So he has 3 bars of power and not so much anymore. And obviously, he's still squeezing the damage there. And obviously, Terrax is taking plenty of damage over time there as well for one ability or another. Forgot effects of Witch Node. Now he just needs to wait out that level 2. This is a very beautiful fight, actually. Thinking about how many different interactions there have been in play, absolutely love this one. Now, Terrax, as we can see, has like 26 Furies. So he's going in for that level 2 that's going to have tons of power drain. Doesn't matter against that he would have reached the level 3. He doesn't this time around. And he's just going to go in for another level 3. And the job's done. Man, this was awesome. Love that. I love seeing interactions. I love seeing fights like this. Actually, was there another fight later on? Was there another fight? Yeah, there is a Civil Warrior fight. Which, again, Civil Warrior is immune to Nullify. One second, let's So Silver Warrior is immune to Nullify. And again, your typical nullification abilities would not work in this fight. But obviously, buff immunity does get around it, which cannot be, again, overstated how awesome and important that is. I'm going to see whether he goes for regeneration here. I bet he will. So he needs to be careful with them Furies, not to push Silver Warrior at level 3 because he's in his regen phase. But it's all good. It's all good. Silver Warrior's power was kept stably under 3 bars power. Now, nice level 2 there. Plenty of heal. He's at 64%. And there's no buffs. No buffs anywhere to be seen. Well, except for this armor up now. Because he does not want to throw his special. Wonderful. So there seems to be, was that what, buffet node involved? Yeah, there is a buffet node involved in this. So he's pushing on to 2 bars of power in order to finish the heal up. But, oh no, he went into the Mystic Curse. Perfect. I was worried for a moment that he nullified too many buffs, pushed Silver Warrior to level 3. But he, again, very wisely went into that Poison Curse to access the power control on level 2. And there we go. There is a buff immunity active once again. Does not need to worry about anything that Silver Warrior will throw. Obviously, without any buffs, Silver Warrior is just a vanilla defender. Not much to worry about, and the fight's pretty much over. So let's see, the next opponent is going to be Angela. And Angela, again, is a champion that you would struggle typically nullifying, especially if she would have had access to some, buffs already. But buff immunity can work around that, man. It cannot be overstated how awesome, how important that buff immunity can be. So here we can see that in this case, Angela is not necessarily willingly giving in there. So she has 10 buffs at this point. You can probably pretty much forget about being able to nullify anything. But I think he actually probably doesn't even really need to try and heal up in this fight, because as Angela is going to be throwing special attacks, she's going to be placing armor breaks on Black Widow. And with that alone, she should be able to heal. Except that there are no buffs left. And he needs to go for level 3. He needs to go for level 3 here, because obviously he gained a bit too much power back there. She throws her special attack, and there are no armor breaks because there are no buffs. Now, finally, she does have that regen and 10 Furies. So at this point, again, nullifying without power control is not the greatest idea. But at the very least, he does get some willpower heal from those armor breaks to offset any chip damage or recall that he's going to be taking in this fight. Now Angela has 30 Furies. So at this point, again, he does want to throw his level 2, which immediately basically puts him into level 3 of his own. So he baits out this level 2. Wonderful. Just go in for a level 3 that will likely finish off this fight. And this video has already been like 18 minutes, but I have a ton of footage. So I guess we're going to do the 500 likes for part 2 thing. And I'm going to show one more fight, and that's going to be exactly, I think, half of the clips. And then I'm going to have some more. Act 7, Poison Vulnerability. Act 6, Hyperion Powerhouse, Cat Murdoch's Medusa boss, and then some AW fights. Yeah, I think... so he's getting a poor start here. But yeah, I don't want to stretch this video out. Otherwise, it would be over half an hour. So, yeah, we're going to do part 2 on this one, if we can hit the 500 likes. I do still have plenty of footage left over, especially because we have some Alliance War footage here. And we also have Poison Vulnerability path, which should be quite interesting, which again is one of those things that I spoke about where you do want the attack modifiers on Black Widow Clairvoyant to see some really amazing things. And that would be the perfect thing, increasing her damage by like 200%. And now she has 500% in attack and fury thing from the node against King Groot, because neither one of them had any buffs active. I actually did not know what happens on this node when you tie them. But I do think that he is likely gonna will he go for healing in this fight or not? Or is he just going to go for damage flat out? No, he does go for healing. He does switch on to the bleed curse in order to recover some of the health. And again, King Groot is still... oh, he goes into either level 1. Either was he overly zealous, cautious, or he just wanted those armor breaks for the willpower heal. But they're not permanent ones, so these are not the good ones. It's a good old trick there, but they didn't quite work well enough. But either way, he's back up to 81%, and that King Groot is obviously steadily going down at 59%. That buff immunity lasts just long enough to prevent Furies from activating, which I don't know was better or worse in this case, because he does want to get rid of some of the charges that he has there. Okay, so push that King Groot to level 2, which is fine, as long as that level 2 is not unblockable, which it isn't. And in this case, he goes for a special intercept. Finish is basically healing up. He's over 90%, no need to heal. Now, both of them, again, get that 500% attack increase. You can see 19k mediums, why not? And he probably wants to cycle to low... Uh-oh, that might hurt. That level 1 might hurt. He was... but he does get in an amazing intercept, goes for level 1 in the healing phase, and basically recovers pretty much entire health. Man, this swings and roundabouts of the health bar is always awesome to watch. You make a mistake, but if you are able to recover pretty much immediately, it's always just so helpful. It's always just so reassuring and so helpful. So here he goes for level 1 again and blocks it safely. Now, this was a bit dicey move, because if he didn't throw that level 2 quickly enough, it could have been a problem. But a beautiful, beautiful fight against that annoying King Groot boss. So here we are. Again, I do have some more footage here of Black Widow Clairvoyant, but we have been going for 22 minutes, so I will leave it here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and again, if you do hit 500 likes, I will upload the follow-up with more Act 7, more Act 6, and some Alliance War stuff as well. So, let's get to clicking them likes. See you, folks.
Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about the